Welcome to Anglecare, this is Shin. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Flash Sakuya. Please welcome him. I apologize for the introduction error. We'll reshoot. This is Naoto Igami's Flash. This is Sakuya-san. Please treat him well.
Sweet.
Hey, nice to meet you. In this video we have various. If Yunto Nakatani achieves a versus, who will win? I want to do part 11. After that, Nakatani people were David, right? It's in English. And it's David, right? I want to look back at the match of David player, and I think we will realize the match of Junto Nishida, so I want to hear that prediction too. Where should we start? Well, looking back at the Junto Nakatani David match, I was hit hard from the start. It was intense, right? Indeed. It was a Sasuga Mekashikan boxing match, and it was lightweight or something. I watched the press conference and the match, I saw it. David is a handsome but very narcissistic player. He's very narcissistic. I sensed it from his expression and sunglasses. His actions reminded me a bit of Nakatani. Having a face-off. I told you to look at that camera, didn't I? Did you come to take a face-off photo now, huh? You're doing something light like doing muscle poses about 5 times. Did you do such a thing? Yan just did it, right? Fukai, you're used to the camera like this. It's a super narcissist feeling, isn't it? But you were tense, weren't you, Yan? You were tense, Fukai. But Nakatani is too strong. It's like Yan. That's too strong, isn't it, Fukai? That response. The combination of scenes is so good. Yan, it's like watching a movie from a local area, not in real time.
Flow?
But I managed to do it. It's really like the expression, raising a child, isn't it?
Scary, isn't it?
It's really a perfect expression to describe it. I've heard it from both sides, top and bottom. You know, it's really scary. I've heard from those who have actually done it. It's just my opinion, but it's really scary to mix bodybuilding in there. No matter how you do it, it's gonna show. Being calm is necessary to make sound judgments, regardless of the time. But I really love it. The fight style with Daikazu Nakatani is quite unique, and the way he handles it is somewhat meticulous, isn't it? Once he notices, he starts attacking relentlessly, even to that extent. Compared to Inoue, the player stepping in is incredibly fast.
Tebo.
You say it's not just about getting in. Even if you're born, it's not funny. Even a layman can understand something. Even if you don't understand, you might think Inoue and other players are great, but in the middle,
Root thick.
players don't move that quickly, do they? They do something a little bit at a time, and as an image, they don't seem to be in a hurry. But if they suddenly make a dune sound, it's surprising. 6, 7, keep going, bang bang, it's a kamakiri. Really, mantises don't move like this either. They move a little slowly, and even if they try to escape with a gasha sound when they are caught, they can't. Mantis is better than Big Burn, right? Mantis, Jun, and Nagataniza are good. A is good, right? It's good to have Jun and friends. It's better than Big Burn, right? I'm just ordinary. Thank you for everything. So you're saying the match wasn't like that and Jun isn't dangerous, correct? Yes, that's right. There were certainly hits, but it seems that they were not dangerous, just like this. If it was Naoya Inoue, it would not be dangerous like a bust. It's Naoya Inoue. I heard a voice, and it was not true, but Yuta Nakatani was hit because he was not hit. The field looks more dramatic, doesn't it? Not at all. Not dangerous at all. It wasn't a punch, was it? Do you think Nakatani is getting stronger and stronger, don't you? You mean his weight is properly fit, or his physique is fit for phantom weight, and he's properly fit? He's also decided where to decide, or he won't let that place escape, and he's improved a lot, hasn't he? It was 4,000 in Bantam, wasn't it? 44,000. It's really hard to lose weight, isn't it? I think so, yes. The opponent was also big, wasn't he? Is this your first time? It's always completely different when you're dealing with someone taller than yourself. You're saying there was no problem, but it was tough fighting someone taller than yourself. The distance is longer for Nakatani, isn't it? It's a complex concept, but how do you explain it to someone who doesn't know much about boxing? When you explain it to someone who doesn't know much about boxing, it simply means that the fighting distance is longer for someone with a taller physique like Nakatani, but he can fight at a longer distance. The distance is not quite right yet. It's hard to explain, isn't it? I haven't done any martial arts at all. I fight from a long distance. You think this one has longer arms, right? But you can't fight at a long distance, can you? Does that make sense? It does. Why don't you fight at a long distance even though you have long arms? Ah, that's a matter of technique, isn't it? I can hit a strong punch at a long distance. I don't know whether to practice or not to practice because I can't. So you don't have the technique to fight at that distance?
Well,
isn't it easier to fall in love with someone close to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the distance is long, it requires more skill. So I think it was a match where the difference in skill came out.
Right.
I see. Thank you very much. I think everyone understood. It was a good match. At least my viewers seem to enjoy it.
I'm not a martial arts maniac.
I just like martial arts in general, but if I go to the gym and do it myself,
Well, probably less.
I don't think so, you know. But there are people who do boxing, right? There aren't many people who can keep hitting from a long distance. No matter how you do it, it's easier to hit around here, but you have to go a little further out. You have to do it from a long distance. Yeah, isn't it tough? That's right. So Nakatani had such a technique, so it's better to practice hitting as long as possible, right? It depends on the characteristics of the player, but it's safer to go a long distance. Well, what should I do if I'm nervous like me? There are also issues of rank, but I was more comfortable with a short distance than a long one.
For myself.
I, on the other hand, am used to this kind of rotation at a short distance.
Practice.
I've been practicing hitting hard even at short distances, so if I tried to swing like me and hit it hard from a long distance, it would be better to practice hitting hard from that short distance rather than practicing hitting hard at a long distance, right? That's right, isn't it? I can't say it in general, but if it's for a tall player, it's beneficial.
Is effective.
It's effective, isn't it? Like Naoya Inoue, he's not particularly tall, but he covers distance with his stride. It's different from Nakatani, he can fight at a long distance. It's quite a reach, isn't it? Indeed, his stride is impressive. It's something characteristic of Naoya Inoue, isn't it? If you step in like Naoya Inoue and hit, it's better to hit at a long distance. That's the kind of practice, the better way to do it. It depends on the characteristics of the player, right? I understand. David is at a long distance.
To hit.
I heard that he didn't have a match. Even in Mexico, most players like to have a match, so it becomes such a distance. I quite like the Mexican style. It's cool, isn't it? As a person, I can say that it's good. Boxing styles vary by country, like the cool Mexican style of Canelo. The Japanese and Filipino styles are also interesting and attractive, with their own unique characteristics and a sense of wildness. It's fascinating how each nation has its own distinct approach to boxing. America is something. That American style is mixed in, but is there such a thing as a base American style? Something, if you say such a device or a full throttle, it becomes such a system. After, the English are known for their aggressive approach, as exemplified by Hatton and Yan Yan, who share similar characteristics. Hatton is a prime example of this English trait. Where else is there, I wonder? Well. That's about it, isn't it? But Yan Yan, Russia and such. Deep well, Russia is also good, isn't it? Yan Yan. And Cuba as well, right? Deep well, Cuba is also cool, isn't it? Yan Yan is interesting. Deep well, certainly interesting. The style is such, there are ways to teach, but still. Nakatani is not a Japanese who was raised in America, but he is not an American either. I often hear this kind of blend, but what do you think? The main thing is, I think, based on what I was taught in America, I think the basic is being taught by American trainer 5500 Hondas, so that's it. Even at long distances, Nakatani can fight well, but he's also good at short distances, isn't he? That's unfair, isn't it? When I sparred with Nakatani, did such a thing happen? Yes, it did.
I also spar with player Aya Igami.
It's been decided a little. I sparred with Aya Ijima and Futoshi Nakatani. Manabu Furuhashi seems to be predicting them. Is this a good thing to corner the market? What is the market? Even if Futoshi Nakatani wins as a market, he will go, right? I'm sorry. I haven't heard from Nakatani player, but he is tackling the problem with his slow sparring, and that's what I think. When I was sparring with him, it was definitely to practice close combat. That's what I think. At that time, Superfly Nakatani player was in the second class, and when asked which one he was good at, he couldn't answer because he was good at both. He fought against him and he was able to engage in close combat, so as for me, I didn't feel like doing it or being done one-sidedly. But that's just it.
Even though it's a close combat, you're not getting punched, right?
He's good at it. He's not just using his body strength to guard in close combat. He's really using technique. He skillfully uses his body, replacing and pressing, and it wasn't an infight where he could advance superiorly with such physicality, but he's also strong in that, isn't he? That's how it is. I had forgotten about Nakatani and Spani-san, and I had also forgotten about Hibiya-san, so it was Hibiya-san's support that I did.
Support.
I also love Tsuzumi-san. Why do I love both of them? But I haven't met Tsuzumi-san yet, right? Ah, that's right. I haven't met him yet. If I meet him, I'll end up supporting him, so I don't want to meet him yet. I like that writer's style. I see it now. You said that, right? The conversation has drifted off, hasn't it? Nakaya's spiraling, saying he can do it. It's kind of funny how he grew up in such a way.
It would be nice to do a 10-minute sparring once in a while.
10 minutes of sparring. He said it's happening today. It's an interesting concept to do 4 rounds of 10-minute sparring or something on the day, and you have to adapt to whatever Nakatani Jun does. You can't just not do it. I see. When I went to Mexico, I also did it for 4 minutes.
It varies by gym. Some gyms require multiple check-ins, while others only need one. Gyms have different policies.
The interval isn't 1 minute 30 seconds. It's 1 minute. That's how it's always been, isn't it?
That Mexican... The trainer times with the stopwatch. Don't you film things like sparring?
When I looked, it was about 4.5 minutes. The interval is appropriate. That's how it is. When the trainer is already in full swing. It's like this and that. Aren't you going to give instructions? You forgot the stopwatch. You're just nagging.
Well, something like that.
Sorry for nagging. What are we really talking about? Athlete Fukai Nakatani is nagging about the infight. He was even made to do 10 minutes of sparring. I went to America alone when I was 15 or 16 years old. And the place is quite strong, so I listened to the interview of Nakatani Miki. I was surprised, and it became clear in the low blow. The starting point is also quiet. I've been doing that and I'm used to it. I guess it's gonna be a strong uproar, isn't it?
You wouldn't think that about the style, would you? In terms of style. Nakatani's boxing when you see it. As it gets recent, such toughness.
Oh, hot. I can't take a stand without showing that, but I guess I have that too. It's a bit scary at this point. I'm worried what's gonna happen. I thought so during this time.
I asked Mr. Yabuki about it. Are you not having a match for once?
I said, I think you're really strong when you hit, but that's it. It was during the right fly, wasn't it? During the fly. Was it a fly? So Yabuki-san dropped it to the right fly and then lowered it a bit, right? You said you were strong when you were hit by the fly. But even if the opponent's punch power increases, doesn't Nakatani's body strength also increase? You argue that the body's strength differs when reduced, but even if hit hard, there's a chance of withstanding repeated punches. Considering this, if struck hard when reduced, you'll weaken, but may still persist. Nakatani Ichiro, he's not weak when he gets hit, is he? Despite his small face, he seems strong when hit. Not everyone claims to be weak when hit by an angel, right? That's my opinion. Kuchitenjin.
Is he weak when hit? Probably because he hasn't been hit much. Even in the deep well, because he hasn't been hit. Everyone thinks he's weak when hit, right? But even in the deep well, he's not weak when hit because that's where Tenshin Kuchi, Naoya, Inoue also endured when he was a donaire, right? After the first battle in the deep well, I heard around 7 or 8 rounds hit him separately in the mouth. He's not weak, just in that particular location. It's not like a Canelo, right? That's the feeling. It's not a Canelo in the deep well, but I guess Takuma in the deep well is something. It's not bad to say that it's not in the well above Takuma, something. When I said the tune, I wonder if Takuma was so weak that the baton would fall to Tama. Which one was it? Is it Yanyan Takuma player or Fukai? How is Yanyan Takuma player? Takuma player doesn't understand it's deep, right? I never said it worked when I was a Yanyan corner player. It's Fukai, right? Yanyan doesn't come from Fukai. Something jabbed me in a pattern and I fell down. Yanyan, the Ishida player, did that work too? I heard more than I said and was surprised. I don't think it's significant. That example differs slightly, right? A different song is good, Bokusa. Do you know Amyukan? Amyukan is really fast and the sound spin is amazing, but it's a bit punchy. Well, I don't think it feels like that because there is a difference. It's an unusual song and I don't think it has much goodness. I guess it's like Nakatani or Nishida, right? Well, I think it's a big resistance to think the same thing, but I think Nishida's a bit tough. Nishida player is still a bit. In my case, it's an unknown number. I understand that it's strong, but wasn't it a sudden rise in the match of Rodriguez who was the world title before this? The evaluation is likely unfavorable until then. Even in a minor league, he won against Rodriguez and his evaluation suddenly improved. It's not just one game, if I may say so. His previous performance was amazing, but he needs to do it once more against a strong opponent to truly understand his strength. That's what Nakatani Junto is all about. I wanted to insert a little before that, like Tsutsumi and others, but I feel like Tsutsumi is going to win or something. There's a video where I thought about the rankings with Mr. Valentine, including the Yanyan Bantam class. But every time I think about it, my own rankings change quite a bit. It's like that with Fukai. It's like that with Yanyan, and so on. It's hard to rank below second place. According to Nakata, Nishida Yanyan or Nishida player might come in second, or I might come in a little or not at all. Various colors. Well, if you think about it, Sumi should be second, Yanyan. That's right. Because he's winning a lot with Higashikawa and Takuma. In that, I think that player Nagawa Tenshin is also second. It's really like that, huh? What's that?
Fukai.
And I think that player Masuda Riku can also come.
Kuchina.
Well, that's how it is.
Nekuchi.
If Nishida and Tenshin fight, Nishida will definitely win, right? Even in Fukai, I would say I would definitely win. It won't cut, you know, like that. Fukai is Nishida. Fukai and Tenshin are like Fukai's nature. There are various things, like I can't say anything, but even with my mouth, I feel like Tenshin will win. It's not impossible. Ew, I wonder if I'll get drunk at the Fukai hot spring. There's a good chance that the hot spring player will also get drunk. But on the contrary, if I look at the match with Jason Maloney before this, I think Tenshin player will cut it off. Isn't it difficult for Fukai? Really, that's where Fukai comes in, right? Because he's chased by changing to a southpaw in a hot spring player. The press can't escape forever, and it's just powerless, isn't it? It's just powerless. Tenshin player remains strong even in the mid-game. So how do we stop the Tsutsumi player? My evaluation of my own Tenshin player is quite high. It's high, isn't it? New car, Tenshin's new car, Anji Inoue is rolling around. It changes, doesn't it? The worst. Indeed, let's set aside that ranking for now. You think Nishida can't win, don't you? In my opinion, Nishida is the most unpredictable among the Bantamweight champions. Yes, yes. If someone is going to beat Nakanejiro, it would be Nishida. Isn't that right? I think Tsuzumi would find it tough, though. I thought Tsuzumi-san would be the one to do something unexpected, but is that so? If he can't withstand that, if he doesn't, even if he does, can he win there somehow? How about the recent 3 matches? It's always been like that, but with Suizumi-san, I thought it might be different. Well, it's possible. Even if it's not, it's interesting, isn't it? In the case of Nishida-san, I think the difference in his own abilities will definitely show, don't you think? It's not a powerlessness of an angel, but a bit of powerlessness. There's a bit of a lack of motivation to change something, isn't there? Takeaya and Nakatani, like Jun Nakatani, should win and collect 2 belts. That's what it comes down to, and then what happens after that? So you're a Bantam graduate, huh? Even if you can fight evenly with Kubomi players, you won't last, will you? You're still a long way off, aren't you? I think I'll be gone before I can collect 3. Even in a unification match, I think Nakatani is also aiming for the pound-for-pound #1. I mean, I'm already super bantamweight. I want to do it in the first battle, like Inoue Naoya. I remember something maybe in some video, Rudy Honalas was saying it. Do you remember Mr. Shin? I posted a video on my channel in January. If I made a big prediction for boxing in 2025 and it came true, wouldn't that be possible? At that time, it was completely denied, but it's possible, isn't it? So early, it's like a prophecy in the boxing world, or something that's being said in the boxing world. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, it's totally possible, isn't it? Could Mr. Inoue or someone else be playing Picasso and planning to fly to Afmedia? Even if it's Inoue Picasso, wouldn't they fly? Has Inoue Picasso disappeared? Someone else might join in, but Inoue, Yan. Whoever enters once goes up to the feather as it is, and that's August, July, September, and December from Nakatani because Nakatani player is doing with Nishida and goes up. If you want to do it in the first battle, do it here already. Whether my prediction comes true or it doesn't. It doesn't. It comes true or it doesn't. But personally, I want to see Neri and Nakatani Junhito. I see. In Super Bantam. Nakatani, the player. Why do you want to fight Naoya Inoue in your first match? Because Naoya Inoue is at his peak, and you want to defeat him during that peak. That's what you're saying, so that's an excuse for later. I beat the best Naoya Inoue in a fight. That's an impressive accomplishment, right? You have quite a bit of guts. You're saying you have the confidence to win that. I don't think the team can easily win against Inoue. You're not thinking that Inoue will easily win, are you? I don't think it's that easy to beat Nakatani, especially as an Inoue fan. No, not at this moment. Seriously. Thinking impartially, even if you think about it impartially, I also think that player Inoue has the advantage no matter what. Good evening. Winning 100 times is unimaginable. The odds have narrowed to around 7-3 from what they once were. There was a difference like 8-2-9-1. An Inoue player had a feather and struggled with a knuckleball, for example. The opinions vary depending on such situations, and I think it's quite difficult with a knuckleball. That's how I feel. How much performance can you achieve? I believe the knuckleball is the lightest pitch, and I dislike it. There are many tall and strong Mexicans, right? Yes, there are many Espinosas. I personally think that the knuckleball is the most dangerous, but I guess it's easier to do it on the other side, but I guess that's what you have to do. Even in the featherweight class, I have some doubts about going to the featherweight with the belt I have, but I guess that's the way it is. It's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal, isn't it? Anti. The Super Bantam player is a bit of a pain, isn't he? But, well, that's the way it is. The offside trap is the most annoying, isn't it? Well, that's how it is. 3 times there were 3 failed nominations, and if that couldn't be said, no one could say anything. Well, that's right, isn't it? Everyone in Japan is saying to keep quiet about the scandal, but after all, it's bad because we lost to the scandal. But while that's regrettable, it can't be denied. Isn't it not a designated challenger? That's right. Yes, that's what it means. And, well, so it might be better to return. Just 1 game, right? Because I'm going to change it. Let's play 1 game and then change. It would be strange for me to fight Nakatani, who is ranked #1. If Inoue Nai, the current champion, thinks it's odd to move up, it would be even stranger for Nakatani to come up from the bottom and immediately get a title shot. Fukai? Ah, I see. Be quiet with a top-ranked player like Ahmed Leaf or Nelion. Can't you say it after you knock him down? But there's no objection to that, right? Fukai, well, something. There's a designated match and a selection match. If it was that selection match, I don't think I would be unreasonable, you know, as much as I can say, right? In that case, well, Igami, the player wins. Unfortunately, the well is deep, unfortunately. Is it a KO? Think so, don't you? What would happen if Nakatani was the first to act? I can't tell if it seemed that way.
The exhibition started after Nakatani took effect and entered Mantismo mode.
Catch it, hit it, do it. If you hit a combination, show 'em bang, bang, bang. Inoue, I really don't think there's such a big difference between the players. Inoue and Nakatani. I think Inoue Naoya is strong and there's almost no difference. I think he will win. But if it's said that Nakatani absolutely can't win, I don't think so. Well, that's how it is for now. Inoue Naoya is favored, isn't he? I also think so. I do. But it's interesting, isn't it? I think this could be interesting. Naoya, Inoue, and Nakatani are good. Inoue has moved up to the featherweight class. Is the match with Nick Bohr interesting? It's interesting, isn't it? In the sense of challenging, Picasso is different, and so is Madarif. Madarif also, I'm not that much, right? I'm not uninterested, but I'll win anyway, so I'll watch with that in mind. That's how it is. I don't understand Feather. It'll be fun to see what happens when I raise my rank. My prediction for the Nick Bohr versus Inoue Naoto match is that Inoue Naoto will win. I think it's quite one-sided. Surprisingly, Nick Bohr is interesting. He asked to hear it, noting there's a certain depth to him. Just a little while ago, I think Inoue Naoto was wondering if he was going to unify the 4-group featherweight class. I don't know if everyone heard that, but everyone heard it. Is that a question? Is that the last of the 10 questions? If so, I'll ask everyone. I said I wouldn't be myself with that. I thought that was a matter of time. I thought that if Inoue Daishu takes these 4 bodies one by one, he will pass the peak. So I thought that the 4 bodies could not be unified. So if they could be collected in 2 matches like the time of Super Bantam. I think I can unify the 4 bodies even in the feather class. So I think I can win against Nick Ball. So I win against Nick Ball. Well, I think I can win too. It's not dangerous.
Interesting, isn't it? Interesting, isn't it?
I don't even know who Nick Ball is dealing with.
The names Nick Ball and Nick Ball Fulton are interesting, aren't they? Fulton might win, but that's a bad match, isn't it?
Was that Nick Ball? It was Doheny, wasn't it?
Oh, they're doing it this month, aren't they?
It's not Fulton, it's Doheny. Yan Yan is all for Doheny. Doheny will win here in Fukai. Then Yan Yan will have a match with Fulton and Doheny. It's a Yan Yan revenge match. Fukai is not around. During the match, he hurt his back. Fukai is no good.
I want to see you for the first time, isn't it, Yanya? Yeah.
That's already a punch, isn't it? Fukai, that's right. I want to see Fukai, but I can't.
Fukai.
On the contrary, the knuckleball is more one-sidedly defeated than the straight ball of Fukai. It's more of a knuckleball than a fastball. Surely, you can understand here. The match of the knuckleball and Noenaya, how much it will heat up. Because I think the knuckleball is impressive. I like it, that style. That style. I used to like Dofeni, but now I prefer Mr. Shin because of his fighting style. I've come to understand it well. I like Nikaraki, I like him a lot. He's not very wild, but I also like his fastball. I like players who can step smoothly and hit. I love Bellevue, but I generally like the wild type like Casemiro. Yes, that's right. I like it. It's nostalgic and modern. I also like Fakia, so it's quite wild. I like offensive players. Yes, that's right. I also like Donaire, but I attack elegantly. For example, I really like players like Naoya Inoue. I don't really like point fighters.
So, stylistically, Tension is completely different.
Yes, that's right, isn't it?
You like the fighting style of fighter Takeaya?
That's all?
By the way, speaking of angels.
Well, it's ranked 2nd in the Bandam class from Yara.
Yan.
Just wondering what happens if I win against Tenshin Nasukawa. Will there be another ranking or not? I'm not sure if I have a year-end event, but that's my guess. This time, will it be Nishida or Nakatani? I think the winner will move up. I think Tenshin will go there. How about the unified battle? How about the unified battle versus Taketsumi? Is Sumi still going to fight? I wonder if Takuma Inoue will end up here. A rematch with Sumi, huh? It's also interesting to match up Sumi with Hikawa. I thought I was gonna win, but I lost. Why would I want to set up a title match with another champion when I could be in a title match myself? It seems like I'm just a lower ranked player. That's what I think, you know. But Sumi also wants to do something different, right? Where does Sumi aim? Sumi recently said he wants to compete with Nakatani, so he wants to go as far as he can, whether it's about winning or losing. Is it bad to team up with Takeaya? But I think it would be interesting, don't you? The winner competes with Tenshin, which has everyone hyped. While people are excited about Takeaya vs Tenshin, I think Sumi vs Tenshin would be more interesting. It's definitely a topic of discussion, Tenshin and Takeaya. The content of the match is not so much about how it goes, but rather from the kick, like that. It would be a fun match, wouldn't it? I've been thinking lately, I think I don't like that, but Tsutsumi Takeaya is interesting. I think that's interesting. If Takeaya wins that, it's more than tennis. Isn't tennis more interesting? And if you lose, it's like a title match unified battle of Tenshin's all-inclusive bus. Isn't it interesting? Why are you saying that, isn't it? Well, it's a topic, isn't it? Because everyone made it a topic. The two of them don't say much to each other, but it's a topic. From the kick, Nishida suddenly got into the ring and was surprised, didn't he? I was really surprised. Hint 0, that's right. With 0 involvement, I'll do it anyway.
But
That's good, isn't it? I think it's a great card group, super polite and accurate. If it's okay with me, and I'd like to ask you to do it, that kind of feeling.
culmination.
It was like a couple standing together, wasn't it? It's really interesting, and it's nice to feel that way, isn't it? It's different from Breaking Down, isn't it? It's different from Ibuki Kiyonosuke and Kiyonosuke-san, isn't it? They were compared, but the level as a player is different for those two because the class is different. But on the contrary, if today's Otsuka player was a champion like that and played the match with such an attitude, not at all. Because they are more successful than those who are polite. I understand it without any mistake like Yan Yan. That's why everyone said that example was strange. Yes, even in that sweet charming and even in that charming it is winning. Predictably. Well, it's a shame, but I want to hear everyone's predictions in the comments. I'm collaborating with Flash Gakia, so check the link in the description. Please do it. I'm waiting for your wonderful comments. I talked about Inoue Naya's player, so please. Also, smash that subscribe button for this channel. Good, right? On the button test day, please smash that too. It's recommended. Let's meet again. Bye.